the last instant reaction of the season, Pop-Tarts Bowl, Miami versus Iowa State. Iowa State's win, 42-41. Benjamin, I know you have a lot to say because a lot happened in this game. What do you want to start with first, man?
Disappointed in this Miami Hurricanes football team not really wanting to win this game. At least that's what it seemed like. Especially when Cam Ward, your star Heisman finalist, came into this game. He was on fire, 3 touchdowns in this game, built up a lead for your team, and then where was he in the second half? Nowhere to be found. So for me, it made me feel like the team wasn't really fully invested into winning this game. So that part was just really kind of disappointing for me.
Was that the only thing that stood out to make you feel like they didn't want to win, not putting Cam Ward in?
To be honest, I was a little disappointed to not see Xavier Restrepo. Of course, they can make, of course, whatever the best decision that is for them. But me, watching it as a journalist, as a fan, I would have liked to see Xavier Restrepo play in this game. It would have made me feel like they really wanted to win this game, go out with a bang, win 11 wins since 2003. But when they didn't have those players, because those are obviously your 2 best players on offense, it made me feel like they weren't really fully invested into this Pop-Tarts Bowl. And I kind of understand that a little bit just because it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl, right? It's almost like a cartoon type of bowl. When you were this close to possibly making the playoff, the conversation was all about the playoff for most of the season. So I think these players were probably not 100% invested as, they should have been.
I personally say, and for those who don't know, Xavier Restrepo declared for the NFL draft.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him, but it was disappointing to not see him.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him play today. And to be honest, the offense was it was weird seeing the offense without Xavier.
Yeah.
It was a lot of drop balls today. I can't mention, and I'm not 100% sure what crystal ball plan was for today.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of leaning over to what you were saying.
Yeah, it felt like Cam Ward wanted to be in this game in the second half, especially when Iowa State took the lead with just under a minute to go. It seemed like he really wanted to get into this game and possibly win this game for the Miami Hurricanes, but that wasn't the decision that was made. Emory Williams didn't look ready. Looked like he was a freshman all over again, especially in that last drive. And there's questions now about who the quarterback is going to be for the 2025 season. I'm not sold on Emory Williams based on what I saw. So I feel like they need to definitely find a quarterback in the transfer portal to challenge Emory or eventually replace him, because from what we saw from Emory, it wasn't it.
I agree. You guys let us know, what quarterback are you looking to start? We have Luke Nickel. I heard Luke a lot. But you guys let us know, who do you think will be able to take that spot? Or do you think Emory can work up to that spot? Let us know in the comments.
The positives from this game, though, was the running game. I mean, Damien Martinez, at one point he was averaging 24.6 yards per carry, which is ridiculous. I think he ended up with about 14 yards per carry. Got banged up towards the end of the game. He seemed to kind of do what he wanted to do in this offense. So it was nice to see the offense. I think it was a bold record rushing yard for the Miami Hurricanes. So shout out to the running game, the offensive line, the running backs in this game. But the bottom line is they lost, and it just kind of leaves a sour taste in everyone's mouth here, because you kind of end this season once again on a losing streak. After it's very similar to 2017, where they were undefeated for most of the season, and then at the end of the season they just lay an egg after an egg, and you left to feel like what could have been with this season. The best offense in college football, this team was a Heisman Trophy finalist in Cam Ward, and yet you lose to Iowa State in the last game. Very disappointing end to the season, and I question just how invested they were in this bowl game.
I agree with you. Man, I'm disappointed. I disappointed. I was disappointed when we didn't make the playoffs. I was disappointed at Syracuse, but I really, really was expecting a win today out of Miami. For them to lose, and especially the way they did, was just so many variables to the end of that game. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. It's disappointing. Like, if a team was to win it all for Miami, it would have been this team this year. This was the team to win it all with.
Yeah. You want to go into the 2025 season with momentum. And this bowl loss, based on a lack of effort, discipline, was just, the worst way you could possibly end the season at this point. I mean, obviously you had high hopes and expectations going into the season. You thought you were going to make the playoff, at least win the ACC championship. Those dreams were dashed. This was the only saving grace, and it didn't seem like Miami really wanted to win this last game. I mean, some of these players after the game were crying after the game. So I really kind of question, just what the intention was, and it's just, I would have wanted to see Cam Ward in the game for that, at least that last drive.
That last drive, for sure.
Yeah, I think the crowd was chanting it at the end.
We want Cam. But you know what? That probably took confidence away from Emery hearing we want Cam from the stand.
He's got this. He's got his confidence. So I wouldn't be too worried about his confidence going into the 2025 season. I will be worried about his confidence if Miami does get another transfer quarterback. And I think at this point you have to, because at this point I don't see Miami duplicating the 10-win season that they achieved this season with Emery at quarterback. Maybe he can prove me wrong, and I hope he does. But at this point, from what I saw in the second half from Williams, I didn't see that. And I felt like they didn't really get him going enough. They ran the ball, ran the ball. I felt like they were okay with the production that they produced in this game, and they weren't really going for it. And it wasn't until they were down in that last minute that you felt like, okay, well, they're trying to go for it. And they only got a few yards. They got to the 40-yard line. Andy Borregales could have kicked the field goal there to win the game, and they couldn't get there. So the offense, disappointing towards the end of this game. The defense was disappointing all season for the most part, although, they're still one of the best in the ACC statistically, but when it counted, they weren't able to come up with big plays, and that's what we saw in this Pop-Tarts Bowl.
You can go on and on about the complacency. Today's loss against Iowa State, the entire season, man, just summing up some of the season.
It's kind of hard because I actually wanted to ask Martin Cristobal on this in the press conference, but it was cut short. I wanted to ask him, do you feel like this season was a failure or a success? And I want to ask you, the fans, as well. Do you feel like this season was a failure or a success? Based on what I've seen, I feel like it's somewhat of a failure because we had the #1 offense in all of college football and a Heisman finalist. I think that should result into at least a playoff appearance. And if they would have got blown out by, Penn State or Texas, like SMU did against Penn State, then I would have been okay with that. I feel like this program's still on an upward trajectory. Now I'm thinking, is Cristobal like Randy Shannon? Is Cristobal like Al Golden? Is Cristobal like Mark Richt, where they had a couple of seasons that they weren't so good, and then they had a really good season, but then that following season, they regressed right back to the mean with a 7 or 8 win season. And right now, that's kind of what I see for this team in 2025. So I think it's successful because the last 2 seasons were average to mediocre. And this season, 10 wins, double digits, first time since 2017. So I think it's successful in that respect. But when you have the talent that you had on this team, I felt like they fell short of expectations.
5-7, 7-5, 10-3, and those 3 losses should not have been on. They should
too. Those games, I thought all of them they could have won. I felt like some coaching decisions kind of did them in of all three of those games, and Miami kind of went down as well. As soon as that game went to a 6-point game, towards the end of the game, I was just like, wow, I feel like this is a recipe for disaster. They're going to score, and Emory, like in the previous drive in the fourth quarter, couldn't shut the door on Iowa State. And if you let a team like that, who's talented, hang around, then they're going to beat you, just like they did on this field tonight.
You have to give some props to Iowa State.
Yeah, definitely.
That he had a decent game. He was solid. Coaching. I felt like he adjusted to Miami adjustments very well in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. They didn't have to adjust the camera because he wasn't in the game anymore. That was the most shocking part for me. The question really is, did Cam opt out of that second half, or did the coaches opt him out?
You know?
That's the real question I think everybody kind of wants to know here. And who knows if we'll ever really know the truth about that.
I think Cam opted out.
You think Cam did?
All he wants to do is play football.
If that's the case, then he would have played,
Right.
especially on that last drive. It seemed like he was itching to get back in, but it was Emory
But
who came
since
out.
day one, Cam came in like calling plays and making decisions. I think he made a decision to opt out.
That could very well be the case. I would feel better about coaching if that's the case. If not, then I'm really disappointed in the decision of the coaching staff. But hey, going into this game, I thought I wouldn't really care too much about the result.
I know, and look at us.
All up in arms about everything, you know.
It's all good, man.
But it's been a great season, though.
Yes,
You know,
I
it's been a
enjoy
great
my
season
time.
doing these instant reactions with you, Cass.
Same.
It's been cool on the road again here in Orlando. Pop-Tarts were decent.
We had a Pop-Tarts ice cream sandwich today.
Pop-Tarts ice cream
Did
sandwich.
you like it?
I liked it. I liked
It
it.
was too messy for
I'd
me.
rather real food at halftime and then give me that as a dessert. That would have
Yeah.
been nice. But or warm up the Pop-Tarts. But if you're gonna do that, you might as well put it in a bowl. You know what I'm saying? But I would say the advertising for Pop-Tarts really kind of reignited my affinity for Pop-Tarts, because I didn't really think about no Pop-Tarts ever. And now I'm like, okay, I might.
Nah, I'm
not for
good.
you?
I'm good.
All right. Especially the way this game left a bad taste in our mouth, right?
They tore up that cinnamon Pop-Tart down there.
Yeah.
It was. I would have rather seen the confetti and the Pop-Tart eating from a different team,
Yeah.
Miami. But
Facts.
hey,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. This was so much fun. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm C2. We'll see you guys next season.